Hi guys, Ivan and Susan here again from Vloggers on the Loose. Today we're going to do a bit of a list of Perth's most expensive suburbs, and then another list of Perth's Perth's cheapest suburbs. So there's not many, there's 5 of each we're doing. So not a long video. And here we are in near the Swan, on the Swan River. And there's a few swans over there and quite a few boats out there. Haven't seen anything spectacular in the boats, I should say. They're quite small ones, probably just owned by the locals around here in one of the cheaper suburbs over here that we are. If you spin the camera around, you can see it's quite cheap, the calibre of our houses. So oh look, someone's left their shoes behind and their socks. So we'll take a bit of a walk around here, guys, and you can listen to my voice for the next 15 minutes or so while I rattle off Perth's most expensive suburbs and Perth's cheapest suburbs for you. Give you an idea on what's going on in Perth. Okay, so we'll start off at with the expensive ones first, and this is the cheapest of the expensive ones. So we'll start off with a suburb called Swanborn, and Swanborn's 10 kilometres from the CBD. So it had a median price growth over the year of 1.1% over there in Swanborn, and there's a population over there of 4,059 residents. Takes an average of 9 days to sell a house out there, and the median house price out in Swanborn is 2.3 million Australian dollars. Okay guys, the next one is City Beach, and City Beach is 11 kilometres from the Perth CBD, and it's had an annual growth of 11.2%, and there's 6,609 residents in City Beach. Takes an average of 21 days to sell a house out there, and the median house price in City Beach is 2.8 million Australian dollars. Look at this beautiful house here, guys. This is absolutely massive, this house, absolutely huge. We drove past it, and we might turn up the side street and have a look, show you guys the scale of this house. Might have to cross the road and get a better view of it. The next suburb is Cottesloe, and Cottesloe is 11 kilometres from the Perth CBD. And it had a median price growth over there in Cottesloe of 13.7%. And there's 7,375 residents out there. This is still part of that house here, by the way. Look at the scale of it, absolutely massive. Takes an average of 29 days to sell a house out there in Cottesloe, and the median house price in Cottesloe is 3,450,000 Australian dollars. The next suburb on the list is Delkeith, and Delkeith is 9 kilometres from the Perth CBD, and there's 4,420 residents out there in Delkeith. Takes an average of 20 days to sell a house out there. And Delkeith has gone up 10.2% over the year. and the median house price in Delkeith is 3,530,000 Australian dollars. So the last one on the list here, guys, for the most expensive suburbs in Perth is the suburb that we're in at the moment, Peppermint Grove. And Peppermint Grove is 12 kilometres from the Perth CBD, and there's 1,636 residents here in this area. Peppermint Grove actually dropped. It's the only one in these expensive suburbs that's dropped. Peppermint Grove dropped 10.3% in value over the last year. And it takes an average of 66 days to sell a house in Peppermint Grove. And the median house price over here in Peppermint Grove is 3.7 million Australian dollars. Look at this beautiful house on the right hand side here. Beautiful old architecture. Really nice. So guys, what we'll do now, we'll get to the cheapest suburbs in Perth. But we won't go to a cheap suburb because we quite like walking around this fancy suburb and dreaming of one day living here. So we'll continue with this, and we'll start off at the most expensive suburb in the cheap suburbs. And the most expensive one in the cheap suburbs is Armadale. And Armadale is 36 kilometres from the Perth CBD. There's a population out there of 13,619 residents. And it had a price increase of 38.5% over the year. It takes an average amount of time of 7 days to sell a house out there, so that's pretty good. It goes fairly quickly. And the median house price in Armadale is 450,000 Australian dollars. Look at that big huge sold sign on that house on the corner. Now I'm not sure if it's the house or the block. It's probably the block. And there's the river just down there. So they're pretty close to the river. Okay, so the next suburb is Kalista. And Kalista is 38 kilometres from the Perth CBD. And it's just starting to rain over here also. Kalista's got a population of 1,992 residents out there. It takes an average of 6 days to sell a house in Kalista. I might just have to speed this up a bit here. And Kalista's gone up at 28.4%. And the median house price in Kalista is 447,000 Australian dollars. Guys, the next one on the list is a suburb I've talked about quite a bit, and I thought it'd be an interesting suburb in the years to come. And it's in this list now, called Midland. And Midland is 19 kilometres from the Perth CBD. And there's 5,972 residents out there in Midland. And Midland's gone up 18.9%. Takes an average of 9 days to sell a house out there. And the median house price in Midland is 440,000 Australian dollars. Next on the list, guys, is a suburb called Medina, which I've spoken about a bit also. And Medina is 70 kilometres from the Perth CBD. Takes an average of 10 days to sell a house out there. Population in Mandurah is 7,837 residents out there, and it's gone up by 23.6% in Mandurah as we pass some beautiful houses over here in Peppermint Grove. Really nice houses. And guys, the median house price in Mandurah is 436,000 Australian dollars. So the last one on the list for the cheapest suburbs in Perth is a southern suburb again called Medina. And Medina is 38 kilometres from the Perth CBD. There's 2,373 residents out there in Medina. It takes an average of 6 days to sell a house out there. And Medina's gone up 25.2%, guys. And the median house price there in Medina is 411,000 Australian dollars. They're just doing some restoration work on this house on the corner here with a white fence. So guys, what category are you in? Do you fall into the rich suburbs of Perth? Or do you fall into the cheapest suburbs of Perth? I should say the most expensive suburbs of Perth, or the cheapest suburb of Perth. Which category do you fall into? Leave some notes for us. Let us know what your suburb's like. Would you prefer to live in a more expensive suburb? Or do you like where you're living if you're living in a cheaper suburb? Let us know in the notes below, comments below. Here's another big restoration job going on here. Huge job. They're extending the house at the back also. And the workers are just having their smoko break over there. That's a massive job going on there. They've extended the back and look at that, guys. They've extended the side of the house also. So absolutely huge. Beautiful suburb out here. So guys, that's it for our video on the most expensive suburbs in Perth and the cheapest suburbs in Perth. As we end the video over here in Peppermint Grove, under a beautiful peppermint tree. And all these peppermint trees are right down the street because that's what the suburb is named after. All the peppermint trees in the area. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video here on the most expensive suburbs in Perth and also the cheaper suburbs in Perth. Don't forget to give it the thumbs up, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.